Alright, y'all. What's up? I'm out here to be a massive simp over my favorite book in elementary, Hatchet by Gary Paulsen. He apparently won an award 3 times. It says right there. Look at that. See that award, bro? He won it 3 times. You can even see the little thing. Newbery Honor Book. Dang, this thing has sold 4.45 million copies? Jesus, I can't believe that. Alright, well, anyways, I'm gonna read this to y'all in the world's shittiest audiobook. But, yeah. I'm about to simp. Oh, my camera fell down. I'm about to simp, bro. Let's go. Ratchet. To the students of Hershey Middle School. Chapter 1. Brian Robertson stared out the window of the small plane. At the endless green northern wilderness below, it was a small plane, a Cessna 406, a bush plane. And the engine was so loud, so roaring, and swimming and loud, that it ruined the nature's conversation. Not that he had much to say. He was 13, and the only passenger in the plane was a pilot named, what was it? Jim or Jake or something? Who was in his mid-40s, and who had been silent as he worked to prepare for takeoff. In fact, since Brian had come to the small airport in Hampton, New York, with the plane, driven by his mother, the pilot had only spoken 5 words to him, getting the co-pilot seat. That's a based attitude right there. Which Brian had done. They'd taken off, and that was the last of the conversation. There had been the initial excitement, of course. He had never flown a single engine plane before, and to be sitting in the co-pilot seat with all the controls right there in front of him, and all the instruments face as the plane caught altitude, jerking and sliding on the wind currents as the pilot took off. He had interesting and exciting. But in 5 minutes, they had leveled off at 6,000 feet and headed northwest. From then on, the pilot had been silent, staring out the front. The drone of the engine had been all that was left. The drone in the sea of green trees that lay before the plane's nose and floated to the horizon, surrounded lakes, swamps, and wandering streams and rivers. Now Brian sat looking out the window, the war thundering through his ears, and tried to catalog what had happened to things his flight. Thinking always started with a single word: divorce. It was an ugly word, he thought. A tearing, ugly word that meant fights and yellers. Lawyers. God, he thought. He hated lawyers who sat with their comfortable smiles and tried to explain in legal terms how all that he lived in was coming apart. In the breaking and shattering of all the small things. His home, his life, all the small things. Divorce. A breaking word, an ugly breaking word. Divorce. Secrets. No, not secrets so much as just the secret. What he knew and had not told anybody. We knew about his mother that had caused a divorce. What he knew, the secret. Divorce, the secret. Brian felt his eyes beginning to burn and knew there would be tears. He had cried for a time, but that was gone now. He cried now. Instead, his eyes burned and tears came. The seeping tears that burned, but he didn't cry. He wiped his ears with a finger, looked at the pilot out of the corner of his eye to make sure he hadn't noticed the burning and tears. The pilot sat large, his hands lightly on the wheel, feet on the rudder pedals. He seemed more machine than a man. Extension of the plane. On the dashboard in front of him, Brian saw the dial switches, meters, knobs, levers, cranks, slides, handles that were wiggling and flickering. On occasion, nothing understood, and the pilot seemed the same way. Part of the plane, not a human. When he saw Brian looking at the pilot seat, he opened himself. Ever fly in the co-pilot seat? Before, he looked over, the headset off of his radio and put on Snubble, yelling to overcome the engine. Brian shook his head. He had never been in any kind of plane, not seen the cockpit of a plane. Never seen the cockpit of a plane except in the films or television. He was a lot confusing. First time. It's not as complicated as it looks. Good planes like this almost fly itself. The pilot shrugged. Makes my job easy. He took Brian's left arm. Here, put your hands on the controls, your feet in the rudder pedals, and I'll show you what I mean. Brian shook his head. I better not. Sure, try it. Brian reached out and took the wheels and gripped so tight his knuckles were weak. Shook down the pedals. The plane stood suddenly to the right. Not so hard. Take her light. Brian eased off, relaxed his grip. The burning in his eyes was forgotten momentarily, so he rushed down the plane, came to the wheels and the pedals. It seemed almost alive. See? Pilot let go of his hands in the air to show Brian he was actually flying the plane. Simple. Now turn the wheel a little to the right and push on the right rudder pedal a small amount. Brian turned the wheel slightly, and the plane immediately banked to the right. And when he pressed on the right rudder pedal, the nose slid across the horizon to the right. He allowed the pressure and straightened the wheel and the plane right itself. Now you can turn. Bring her back to the left a little. Brian turned the wheel out, pushed on the left pedal, and plane came back around. It's easy. He smiled. At least this part. The pilot nodded. All the flying is easy. Just takes learning, like everything else. Everything else. Controls back and then reached up and rubbed his left shoulder. Aches and pains was getting old. Controls 1 feet away. Pedal. Oh, thank you. But the pilot sets back on because it was lost in the engine. No, things went back to Brian. Looking out the window at the ocean, trees, and lakes, burning their eyes and not come back. Memories did. They can't fall again. The words, always the words. Divorce, the secret, fight, split, the big split. Brian's father did not understand as Brian did. He only knew that Brian's mother wanted to break the marriage apart, but a common and the divorce also fast, and the court had left him with his mother except for the summers when the judge called the visitation rights. So the formal, Brian hated judges as he hated lawyers. Judges leaned over the bench and asked Brian if he understood where he was going to live and why. Judges with the caring look that meant nothing as lawyers said legal phrases that meant nothing. In the summer, Brian would live with his father. In the school year, with his mother. So the judge said, and looking at papers on his desk and listening to the lawyers talk. Talk words. The judge said right, and Brian looked at the pilot. He was rubbing his shoulder again, and there was sensual body gas on the plane. Brian turned back to him, putting burst in the plane, who was obviously something different. Must have stomach troubles. So in the first summer, he was allowed to have visitation rights with his father. With the divorce, only 1 month old. Brian was heading north. His father was a mechanical engineer. Designer invented a new drill bit for oil drilling. Self-cleaning, self-sharpening bit. Working in the oil fields of Canada. Up on the tree line where the tundra started, the forest ended. Brian was running up from New York with some drilling equipment. He was lashed on the rear of the plane next to a fabric plane called Survive Pack. Had an emergency deposit because they had to make an emergency landing. Specifically made in the city, riding in the bush plane with a pilot named Jim or Jake or something. Trying to be an alright guy, letting him fly now, except for this one. Now there was a constant order and Brian with the plane. From his shoulder down the arm, left arm, letting go more gas and wincing. Probably something he ate, Brian thought. His mother had driven him from the city to meet the plane at Hampton when it came to pick up the drilling equipment. A drive in silence, a long drive in silence. 2.5 hours sitting in the car, standing at the window, 1 hour when they were out of the city, she's taking him. Look, can't we talk this over? Can't we talk this out? Can you tell me what's bothering you? There were the words again. Divorce, split, the secret. How could he tell her what he knew? So he had remained silent. His head and continued to stare and seeing at the countryside. His mother had gone back to arriving to speak of him one more time when they were close to Hampton. She reached over back of the seat and brought up a paper sack. I got something for you for the trip. Brian took a second on top. Inside there was a hatchet, the kind with the steel handle and rubber hand grip. The hand was in a stout leather case that had a brass riveted belt loop. It goes in your belt. Her mother spoke now without looking at him. Some projects on the roads, and now she had to weave through them and watch traffic. Met the store so you could, in the woods with your father. Dad, he thought. Not my father, my dad. Thanks, it's really nice. The words on the hollow, even to Brian. Try it on, see how it looks on your belt. He would naturally have said no, but would normally have said no. That's too hokey to have a hatchet on your belt. There were normal things he was saying. But her voice was thin, had a sound, something thin that would break if you touched it, and he felt bad for not speaking to her. Knowing what he knew, even with the anger, how I hated his anger on her, he still felt bad for not speaking to her. So to humor her, he loosened his belt and pulled the right side out and put the hatchet in the wreath of the belt. Scooch around so I can see. He moved around the seat, feeling only slightly ridiculous. He nodded, just like a scout, my little scout. There was some voice that she had when he was small. And it's like she had when he was small and stuck with the cold, and she put her hand on his forehead and turned the burning came to us again. Came from her and looked out the window, forgotten the hatchet on his belt. And so Riley was playing with the hatchet still on his belt, but it was a bush flight from a small part. There had been no security, but I'd been waiting. The engine running when he had arrived. He had grabbed the suitcase, packed wagon, and run for the plane without stopping and removed the hatchet. So it was still on his belt. At first, he had been embarrassed for finding the letter. But I forgot it as I took off and began flying. More smell now, bad. Don't know, kid. Bad aches here, bad aches. That was something Ava. He thought there was a fresh resin pain in him. Even Brian could see how bad it was. And pain drove the pilot back and seat back and down. I'd never felt it. I had anything like it. Brian ready for the switch on his mic cord. His hands getting small like for some reason. He put the switch said, "This is flight 46." And now Joe took him like a hammer blow. The force flight, they seemed to crash back and see, and Brian screamed, "Can I understand force was working?" I know. And then he knew. Brian knew. The pilot felt was rigid. He swore he jerked her. Tears that slammed his chest, holding his shoulder in her chest. Oh my god, my chest is coming apart. Brian knew no. The pilot was having a hard time. Trapping him all with the man in front of Paisley's store at several hours deck. He had gone down and screamed about his chest. An old man. Much older than the pilot. Brian knew. The pilot was having a heart attack, and even as the law came to Brian, the pilot slammed into the seat one more time. One more awful time, he slammed back the seat, and Rosetta looked pulling the plane to him. Aside, and sun twisted and sad fell forward and speaking from the corners of his mouth and his legs clenched up in the seat, and his eyes rolled back in his head until there was only way. Only way for his eyes, and his smell became worse. Followed the cockpit, all of it so fast, really fast that Brian's bike could not take it in first. Could only see it in stages. The pilot had been talking just a moment ago. The plane. He had been talking. Then the jokes had come. The jokes took the pilot back. Coming. Now Brian sat there for a strange silence in the thrumming roar of the engine. A strange feeling of silence and being alone. Brian was stooped. He was stooped. Inside he was stooped. He could not think past what he saw when he fell. The vehicle in the vision of Brian was sticking with a white flash of horror. Near his heart had stopped. Stopped. Seconds passed. Stopped. Seconds that had become all of his life. He didn't know what he was seeing. He began to understand when he saw him was so much worse that he wanted to pick his feet again. He was sitting in a bush plane, roaring 7,000 feet above the north windows. The pilot who had suffered massive heart attack and was either dead or something close to coma. He was alone. In a roaring plane with the pilot, he was alone. Alone. So yeah, if you want to see more of that, buy the book. That's all you're getting. that's all you can. I don't know. Maybe I'll come back to it. But I'm telling you, even if that's not your shit, even if it didn't hook you immediately, give it a shot. I think maybe a child you would have liked it. Alright, in my defense, I like that as a child. Like if you don't like it as an adult, maybe a child you would have liked it.